Mr. Duffy?
Yes. Good morning, and thank you, Chairman Benešek and Ranking Member Brownlee, for holding today's very important hearing and for allowing me to testify on my Bill 3508. I worked on this along with Congressman Tim Walz from Minnesota, and I appreciate all his work and efforts to make sure this is a bipartisan proposal. This is a proposal that will address the times and backlogs that our veterans have to provide or receive services from the VA. Currently, you have the VA that hires doctors of audiology, and which is wonderful. When our veterans receive services, the services are wonderful. The problem is there's long wait times and backlogs before they're actually able to get in and see the doctors. Oftentimes, a veteran who needs an initial exam or a hearing test will wait 2 weeks to 1 year for that initial appointment with the audiologist. And then their hearing aids are ordered. It's 2 weeks to 1 year before they actually get the hearing aid itself. And then, once they get the hearing aid, they have to go back to the VA where it's an appointment time of 6 weeks to 6 months before they get that appointment. And then if you have to have your hearing aid tweaked or adjusted, it's another wait time of 6 weeks to 6 months. This is unacceptable. When you have our younger veterans who are coming home from war and our aging veterans who have had hearing loss issues, you can't hear. And they're waiting weeks, if not months, before they can get into the VA. It's creating real problems, and I think a disservice to our veterans. This came to my attention. One of my constituents, Roger, he's a Vietnam vet. He's 70 years old. He had a hearing aid. The hearing aid went out on him. And so he called the VA to get an appointment to go get a new hearing aid, and they told him it would take 6 months before he got an appointment. 6 months. He can't hear. This is unacceptable. So he went to his local hearing aid specialist, bought a new hearing aid out of pocket, and paid $5,000 for it. Now, Roger could afford that. It was a significant dent to him, but a lot of our veterans can't afford to pay $5,000 to get service on their own when they actually could get service from the VA. So what we're doing in this bill is asking that we allow the VA to hire hearing aid specialists for the complex issues of hearing loss and hearing issues. We still have the audiologists, but we'll have hearing aid specialists who can do some of the more minor functions in regard to hearing loss, like dispensing, repairing, adjusting, and fitting the aids. So we can eliminate that backlog and get our veterans seen right away. So not only will the VA be allowed to hire hearing aid specialists, not required, not mandated, but allowed if they see fit to hire hearing aid specialists, we'll also allow the VA to contract with hearing aid specialists around our rural communities. I know, Chairman Benešek, you and I share district lines. We don't come from the most populated districts in the country. We live in rural America. And you hear stories about our veterans and the length of travel time they have to go to the VA clinics. If we allow the VA to actually contract with hearing aid specialists in their community, far less disruption for our veterans to just have the simple pleasure of hearing provided to them and services provided to them from the VA. So I hope the committee will consider our bipartisan proposal, and I think it goes a long way to making sure we're doing justice by way of the men and women who have so honorably served our country. I yield back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Duffy.